After she was betrayed by her only friend, she lost the ability to trust. Sympather will tell you, humans are tarnished. Under the aegis of Lenixion, Sanctuarium will cleanse the world of human impurities. Sympather tells me that she has chosen to dedicate her very life to this higher calling.
You must feel the same, I think.
Sympather assumed that we were kindred spirits. We were different as night and day. I had sacrificed Sortiara as a stepping stone. Things have never been the same. If Sortiara had lived on, would she be like Sympather?
Heretic Savior, Chapter 4.
We now finally faced our target. If we could save this creature, then we would pass the ordeal. The air was thick with a sinister haze. Sympather looked around, but did not think to look behind. The beast lurched from the shadows and struck Sympather into the air. The great beast turned on me next. Near death, Sympather's eyes met mine.
I don't want you to die.
It was permission to absorb her in sacrifice.
Take my life, so that you may keep yours.
I replied without thought. I cannot. Sympather reminded me of Sortiara. That had been an experience that I could not repeat.
Okay. He's the ninth guy after all, he is. I carried Sympather to a shelter spot. She is not some stranger to be murdered without remorse. Though our time together on this journey was short, I will not throw it away. See, he's a nice guy. I like this guy. He's a real nice guy. Just a nice fella, he is. Alright, yay me. I'm all by myself. I feel so... Oh. Hey, that thing on his back is gone. You are the ugliest Pegasus I've ever seen in my entire life. What up, bruh? Look at this. I am just smoking you scrubs. All day. All day. Oh, I got frozen. No, come on. Damn. Cat, stop eating stuff you're not supposed to. Piss me out. Oh, get away. Thank you. Ow, jerk. That took an odd amount of time. Oh, he... What? What? Whatever. Oh. Where did that come from? Ugh, get it. Oh, well. Whatever. Come on. Come on. Come on. Come on. Plenty of time, plenty of time, plenty of time. Plenty of time. Come on. Come on. Oh, yes. Woo! That was close. Thought we were gonna get annihilated. Oh. Awesome.
I don't want such an ugly death.
Okay. I will save you then. For Sympather. Oh yeah, like a boss.
Ugly death.
Phantom quest complete, like a boss. Son. I don't know what I'm saying. Yeah, we did it. We did another one. We beat it. We beat it, everybody. We did it. We did it. Yo, Adrian, I did it. Okay. Cool. Good job. Oh, yeah. Look at that. Lots of stuff. Fantasticness. Digging it. Digging it.
I struggled to catch my breath, and Sympatha nonchalantly rose to her feet and dusted herself off.
You pass.
It was evident that her injuries were just scratches. Now it made sense. I was being tested. Sympatha had been acting all along. Sympatha, otherwise known as Lenixion, leader of Sanctuarium. She had come out to take part in the ordeal, to size up the new initiates for herself. By not resorting to sacrifice, I passed the test.
Well, what now? Aren't you going to kill me?
She saw right through me. She told me that she faces assassins on a regular basis. I shook my head. Enough. This was enough. I couldn't kill her anymore. From that moment, she always made me think of Sortiara.
You're a strange one. I thought you'd come here for me.
She smiled as she said it, the first natural smile that I'd seen.
You know, I think I like you.
Sanctuarium's leader was born to play her role. I felt it in the gentleness of her smile as it soothed my weary body.
We will speak again someday, as friends who journeyed together.
Lenixion's sister. Opening.
Her parents died before she was old enough to know them. Slain by a monster. Only a brother remained to her, a young man called Lenixion. It was an uncommon name. He raised her alone, the best he was able. This girl, 10 years his junior. His sister, though not by blood. It was only honor that bound them. For he had been an orphan too, the same as his sister. Some years prior, a nearby couple had taken him in and raised him. They had a daughter then, and so Lenixion came to have a sister. He swore to be with her always, and so he was. And though the girl loved him for it, she could never quite forget. She raged at the fiend responsible. That thirst for vengeance saw her awaken to sorcery at an early age. She swore to find the thing that took her parents and avenge them. It was a source of deep worry for her brother. He held to a strange creed. Even his sister would admit he was a peculiar sort. He forbade himself to sacrifice, as if he bore the act some grudge. At every turn, he was quick to reaffirm one lesson to his sister. Forgiveness is the noblest act. Behind his words, she felt he was urging her to forsake her revenge. And though she respected him, that was one lesson she could never accept. She snuck away to take Avalon's ordeal in secret. She felt that was the surest path to finding what she sought. Vengeance for what was stolen away. Without a word to her brother, she put their home behind her. She walked half the night alone. Then, a presence behind her. She turned and saw him there. It was no monster that killed your parents. I killed them for revenge. She was still an infant then. His parents had been sacrificed, and the boy was left an orphan. Their deaths had served to save the village from rampaging monsters. The task itself had fallen to one of the men of the village. After sacrificing the pair, he took in their child as his own son. The man had his own family, a wife and newborn babe. From day one, the boy bided his time. His was a warped vengeance. Why should he be the only one to suffer, he thought. He could move on if only someone else knew his pain. But who? A perfect candidate was close by. The daughter of his parents' killer. And so, he had his vengeance. He sacrificed the ones who took him in, and orphaned their girl. All to look upon someone the same as he, and find some peace. With understanding came outrage. The fiend she sought had lurked under her roof this whole time. He'd stood by her, smiling. Because he could not hurt alone. And so he shared his woe with her. Her anger exploded in a feral scream, and she charged at him. He made no move to defend himself. He willingly took her retribution. It was then he spoke. "Stop there! It's for the best!" How dare he? She thought back now, on all those times he'd preached forgiveness. He'd feared this, she thought, that the girl would learn the truth and seek her rightful vengeance. Despite her slight frame, the girl raged on, untiring. Bloodlust now clouded her eyes. To the point she could not see the fiend that crept behind her. It caught her unawares, and with a single blow it sent her flying. Her brother dragged his broken body to her side. And then he placed his hands upon her. He meant to sacrifice her like he had her parents. She shoved the bloodied boy away. He stumbled ever closer to the fiend. The monster's attention diverted from her, and she ran. A faint voice called after her. She turned to see it pick him up, then saw its fangs crush his head. She ran, desperate for her life. But all the while, her brother's final words rang in her head.
Lenixion's sister.
Soon, she found herself at the door to the home they shared. It was then, as she searched for something to staunch the bleeding, that she found it. A stack of journals in a drawer. Written in her brother's hand. She could scarcely bear to look at them. Absent parents sorely missed, loss, rage at the one who took them. It was the same, all of it. She felt the same as he had all those years ago. And now she felt the same as him once his vengeance was done. His writing wavered. One page after the next, he confessed his guilt, his agony. By sacrificing her parents, the boy had come to understand. He'd had no choice but to, once their souls lay inside him. The depths of guilt that weighed upon the pair he slew. They had even resolved to end their lives as penance. But each time they desisted, unable to leave their boy alone. His right arm surged with regret. It was mirrored in the regret young Lenixion felt himself. Seeing a fellow orphan share in his pain brought him no solace. His shame and regret made him wish he could disappear from this world. But sure enough, it was the girl's presence that stopped him. His journals repeated one phrase. Why did I not realize sooner? Until someone elects forgiveness, the cycle of hate is never broken. Indeed, as she read his words, the girl felt his same guilt. He'd always preached forgiveness. Not the sort that applied only to him, not a convenient absolution for his crimes. It was a lesson born of regret, the choice he'd failed to make. As she battered him, he'd taken it, then spoken these words. Stop now, it's for the best. He had long wished for death. That was no plea for mercy. No good can come of vengeance. It was a plea that the sister he loved be free from this pain he lived with. But when the fiend had laid her low, he tried to sacrifice her. Or had she somehow misunderstood? Had he really tried to heal her? Moments before those jaws took him, she thought she heard his voice. Just run, he'd said. She'd seen it as she looked back. Her brother wore a smile. Now, having read his journals, she understood the reason. He would finally be free of guilt. Now at the journal's end, the girl sat holding her knees and wept. Just as he'd written, beyond revenge, only emptiness awaited. Why had she not forgiven him? Her brother's words perfectly framed the girl's emotions. She began to claw at her breast, as if to scrape away her guilt. A spiral of hatred. An endless black chain bound tight around her body. as her parents and her brother had before her, she thought to end it. But each time she saw his face and could not follow through. If she died here, what meaning did his suffering have? For what had he persevered and raised her? Every act of hers that followed was a part of her penance. The scars she'd inflicted upon herself never fully healed. But as soon as she was mobile, she took his journals and set forth. Her inability to forgive him had been a grievous mistake. As if to shout that to the heavens, she began saving others. To do what she had not that night. If she could just go back, she would forgive him. And so she saved others now. Each fiend she crossed, she saved. Not because she wished to, but in doing so, she found some forgiveness herself, some atonement. She felt her actions could undo her past wrongs. In time, she found companions, kindred spirits, who gathered around her cause. The value of forgiveness was something her brother had found at the bottom of self-hatred. His creed resonated now in the hearts of these new allies. She took up her brother's name, for the credit for this philosophy of forgiveness went to him, she felt. In turn, she cast her own name, Sympather, away. She appended her brother's journals, making a new book. A bloodless world, she called it, and it became their scripture. Those who wallow in anger are not saved by revenge, only forgiveness. Word spread not long after. A new group had arisen, and the name Sanctuarium ran far and wide.
It's a sweet. Very nice. So, let's go on to the next one.